connecting you to people, knowledge, and business development in the line striping industry. This is Stripe It Like It's Hot. Brought to you by Blacktop Banter with your host, Cam Roberts.
What's happening, Pod Squad? Welcome into another episode of Stripe It Like It's Hot. I'm going to turn my phone on mute if that's okay with you, because that'd be a little embarrassing. We're going to get right into it. The man, the myth, the marketing legend. That's officially what I'm calling this episode. Marketing legend. Kenny Roy. What's up? What's up, baby? How are you?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
That was a mellow response. How are you actually?
I'm doing, all things considered, pretty dang good. I'd say my health's a little under the weather right now, but other than that, I feel great.
Your house. How many are in your house?
Say again?
Did you say your house is under the weather?
My health.
Your health.
Yeah, physically drained out right now. But other than that, I'm doing good. From a business perspective, things are fine. I just feel like I'm dying every day, but otherwise.
Do you get sick from too much snowboarding?
To be honest, I think I'm getting sick from not snowboarding enough. I've only been on two trips this winter so far. It's killing me. So I'm way under my seasonal average. So that's probably what the problem is.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on, man. This is going to be so fun. We're going to jam for 30 minutes. The reason why it's going to be so fun is because on the onboarding form that I give out to guests when they come on, like, hey, what do you want to talk about? You wrote.
I forgot what I said, to be honest. Probably anything about asphalt. I don't really know.
All you wrote was asphalt. Different A word. Yeah. Which honestly, these are the best episodes anyways. So, congratulations on the recent award. Let's open with that. What award did you win?
Okay. So we got, best paved parking lot edition, because there's a separate award for like roadways and stuff like that. Yeah, for a project that we did last year. Stoked about that. So we won the year before. We got the best marketing video, followed up with this one, and then I want to say last year we actually got runner up for the best pave also. So we won marketing and got second place for the best pave, or third. I don't think there's a difference. It's just one of the two runner ups. And then yeah, we closed the deal this year for the best pave, which we are super stoked about, to be honest. Yeah, we were pretty dang excited. Yeah.
That's so cool. All right, well, we're going to talk marketing because you guys are so crafty, so creative at it.
Yeah, we try to be.
But the story of Royal is actually super cool. It's kind of unique. Because you didn't write anything down on your form, I'm going to ask anything and everything. Who started Royal? Why did it start?
Yeah, so I started Royal. The why is pretty interesting. So I worked for my family's paving company my entire life. And in 2015, they sold to a private equity group. I was not an owner. It was just my dad and my two uncles. I worked for them. They come into my office and they're like, hey, by the way, we just closed on the company. It's out. You
How old were you? I was
probably 20 years old. Yeah. I was 20. So I had just started, like, I was at that point, I was doing sales for them. I was out of the field. I was doing sales. And so, like, I knew I'd be doing asphalt my entire life. I loved it. I didn't go to college. I graduated high school. I was doing this every single summer when I graduated high school. Just went for full time immediately. So I'm like, okay, I don't want to stop doing what I'm doing. I don't want to go work for one of our competitors. I guess I'll just work for the private equity group that owns us now. Like, I just work for someone else. First year was fine because they didn't change anything. It's like my dad was still the CEO, uncles were the vice presidents. I knew who my bosses were. Everything was fine. Fast forward over the next several years, it deteriorates very quickly. That private equity group wound up buying 5 other paving companies. 4 others. We would have made the 5th. So we were the first one, 4 additional ones. They start terminating all ownership. So like my dad got canned, my uncles got canned. I eventually get canned, which was their model. Like, it was expected. I knew I wouldn't be there forever. I'm like, I'll just work for them until it doesn't work anymore. I had planned to leave at the end of the 2019 season. I was going to go through the year with them, and then that off season, start Royal. They terminated me on Labor Day weekend. So I got like a few months of a head start. I didn't quite finish the season, but like, all right, it was a Friday before Labor Day. They're like, hey, we're good. You can pack up your stuff and get out of here. I'm like, all right. Started the Royal Pavement Instagram, put the website live. I had everything already set up, to be honest. Like I was LLC, I was ready to go. I knew the end was coming soon. So I turned that on, and in 2019, Royal was born. Um, that private equity group eventually goes bankrupt. It took another year after that. So for the first year, I was in like this really weird spot. Um, I knew I'd be in asphalt. I didn't know the exact application. I was like, do I want to be a contractor? Do I just want to be a pavement consultant and like run around for my customers, subbing out jobs all over the Northeast to be like a regional company like that? I toyed around with the idea of actually helping other paving companies and working for them as a business consultant. So I went through like this weird year of like, what do I want to do? During that year, I linked back up with Peter Pappas, who's the VP of Royal now. Um, he also worked for my family's paving company, but was gone before the private equity stuff ever happened. So I called him up, figured out what he was doing. He had just recently finished a commitment and was like looking for his new thing at the same time where I was looking to grow Royal. So he links back up with me. That was summer of 2020. And then that coming winter, my dad gets a letter in the mail from this private equity company basically saying, hey, January is going to be our last month paying you rent. My dad had never sold them the building, so he was still their landlord. If you want to buy your equipment back, let us know. But we're shutting down. My dad and my uncles had now at this point been gone for several years. They're retired. They're not looking to get back into the business. But I was just at that like getting started point. So my dad shows me the letter and is like, do you want me to put you in touch with these guys and maybe you can buy some stuff? I'm like, I looked at Peter, absolutely, let's do it. And so that like cemented our eye. If we were wondering what we should do before, it's obvious now. We're going full blown back into the contracting world. Gave up on all the consulting stuff and just moved on from it. Which look, I liked it, but it wasn't what I loved. I love building and fixing parking lots. That's my passion, right? So bought all that equipment back. A lot of good people lost their jobs because the private equity group goes out of business. So there's still people working there that like I knew and respected. Called them up, they stayed on, and we rebuilt the team. So it was an interesting path of like how we started and how we got here, but not one I would have expected, but certainly not one I would change in any capacity.
That's cool, man. All right. Well, I have questions. I'm going to start with selfish questions because I don't know if I'm thinking it, maybe somebody else is too. Something in the hilarious 1 minute and 28-second video that I just watched on your website. So if you go to the About Us section, it's a pretty well done video. And again, we'll talk about marketing later, why you guys do those videos. But something in that video caught my ear that I didn't know about you. You are on every paving job. Every single one. I want to know why, but also like, how do you find the time to do that? That's a lot of time.
Sure. So at the time of that video being shot, it was true. I have now since missed a job. So I missed a paving job. Yeah, I missed just one.
Why? Because you had like pneumonia?
No, I was actually healthy the entire season. I didn't get sick till the off season, which was good. That one, I was either like away and the job had to get bumped up on scheduling, but like just the schedule didn't align and I couldn't be there. But the good news is that just 1 year ago, basically, I want to say it was either March or April, the guy who taught me how to pave, who worked with me in my family's company, he was working at another company for the past several seasons. Around this time last year, we reconnected and now he came back. So like there are now two paving operators. I have a backup. If I was ever to miss one, Jose would take over. So we're now in a position where like if I can't be there, Jose's more than unbelievably competent to get the job done in the same way that I would do it, right? So things have shifted for this year for sure. I can't guarantee I'll be on every job at this point. But yeah, when that video was shot, I was putting in 20-hour days every single day. It was pretty ridiculous. We'd go out, we'd get the job done. I come back to the office, everybody else, goes home for the day, and then I'm like, all right, well, we've got estimates to get done, all the other behind the scenes stuff, and I would just work, 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night, 1, 2 in the morning, close my eyes for a couple hours, and go right back to it the next day. What it took for the first couple of seasons, we were just getting started. We didn't have a massive I didn't have a big enough backlog where I could be like, oh, let's just hire everybody, and they can all just do it. It's just like, well, what if we don't have enough work to support that yet, right? So I just have to wear multiple hats. That's just what it took to get done. It was intense. It was draining for sure, but worth it.
Yeah, but dude, even on a Zoom screen, like you love it though, right? You love being on the jobs.
Oh, hell yeah, I do. Absolutely. Look, like my perfect day isn't being in the office working on estimates. That is my least favorite part of the job. So like it was funny when I was talking with Jess about like what class we might teach. And she's like, what about something on project management? I'm like, I'll do it, but that's like the thing I'm least passionate. I don't love project management. That stuff sucks. Like I just want to be out there on the job and like working outside all day. To me, that's the best. That is a perfect day to me. Yeah. I love
Man,
it. I'm born doing it, and people are like, man, like this is a grueling business. It's hard work. Like from the outside, people are like, you're crazy. And my response is, hell yeah, I am. I'm absolutely crazy, but crazy in a way that I love. Yeah.
That's so cool. So it's kind of I have a respect for you for this because it's kind of contrary to what contrary is too strong of a word, but a lot of people will teach you, hey, if you want to grow your business, get out of the field as fast as possible. And I haven't been to that extreme, but I kind of promote the same idea, which is, you have to just analyze your time and like what makes the most sense for the growth of the company. But somehow you've managed to significantly grow this company because you guys are not a small company while also being in the field. So I guess the answer is, yeah, you work your face off, but the real answer is you love what you do.
Yes. If
I
you
respect
don't, if you don't love it, it's going to be 10 times more grueling, right? Like at the end of those long 20-hour days, I wasn't sitting there like, man, this sucks. Why am I even doing this? I'm like, holy crap, I'm exhausted. My body hurts. Mentally, I'm fried. I feel like I kicked ass today, though. I can't wait to do it again tomorrow because I loved it. And total transparency, right? Like that path does plateau, right? I could only get to a certain point under that. So this past winter, like we've changed that a lot. Bringing on the guy Jose operationally so that like I can focus on other things. Peter getting promoted to the VP, we did that 2 years ago. We've made significant changes internally that do allow me to work on the business and not in the business. But anybody would be crazy to be like, oh, you don't ever have to pave again. That's great. Screw that. Nah, I'm still gonna find time to get out on the job sites. I have to. I just love it too much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. At some point, it wasn't recently, I think this was a long time ago. You also told me something really unique about, you guys are obviously from New York, you're on the island. So I'm from little old Western Canada, bro. So not a lot of options here when it comes to anything contracting and in general, but certainly with paving and asphalt maintenance, there's not a lot of options here. But I presume that where you are, uh, you know, there would be a ton of options, and they'd be really really good because you guys are in like New York, man. This is like, this is the place to be. But you actually said that it's not that way so much, and I don't want you to like rag on your direct competitors here, but what is the competitive landscape like for what you guys do?
Yeah. So there's layers to that. And I got to kind of answer it from two perspectives. It is 100% oversaturated and crowded. There's a million paving contractors,
Okay.
all over, tons of them. What there's not a lot of are businesses that have a very uniquely similar model to ours. There's a handful of them, and we compete really strongly against those guys. Um, a lot of companies will just stay in like their residential stuff, right? They're doing residential and like custom nice paver brick masonry work for residential stuff. I don't touch that at all. Like I'll pave driveways for my commercial customers, but I'm not hunting or marketing to anybody residential. And then there's a lot of companies that just do like state municipal work, right? So a lot of roadways, all the township, all that stuff. And I won't touch it at all under any capacity. There's 2 to 3 villages that I'll work for. Very small. I strictly focus on commercial properties. And so when you take out all the guys that are just really good at residential and all the good roadway pavers, and I stay out of all that stuff, like yeah, they're around and they're options for my customers. But I think we've done a really good job at differentiating ourselves. Where it's like, look, that's not what your job is, though. So just hire the one guy who's the best at doing exactly what you want to get done, right? And has, from an optics perspective, a really good job at supporting the reason and the value that we're actually selling them with. It makes a lot of sense. So both things are true. It's saturated, but we do a good job at finding the exact customers that would actually want to work with us. And not a lot of guys are doing that. So we've kind of separated ourselves from that perspective.
What's up, Pod Squad? This episode of the show is brought to you by our friends at Mighty Line Floor Tape. So, true story, our company started using Mighty Line. We found the product like half a year ago, 2023, we found it, and we started using it, and I was blown away. The product is incredible. And so many of us in the striping industry want to do interior striping, but we also know that interior striping on concrete usually does not work out very well. This is a fantastic solution. If you have customers that want safe walk lines or customized floor decals, check out their website on Mighty Line. It's incredible. They have an awesome portfolio of stuff. And if you've never tried the product before, head to the website, let them know that you got the info from the podcast, and they will actually send you a free sample box. Check it out, Mighty Line Floor Tape. We are so grateful for them to be sponsoring the podcast. Super cool. So I don't know your team super well. Well, Pete, obviously, I've chatted with him now a couple of times. That's a cool guy. And I've seen some of the marketing team. You seem to do a really good job retaining people too. What's the secret sauce at Royal? Because a lot of people listen to this humble pod. You know, they're growing striping companies, and then they get into hiring, and that's like a whole other world of, you know, it could be a world of pain if you never had to do that process in recruiting and hiring and retaining people. So what works for you guys?
From a recruiting perspective, I have to reasonably answer as truthfully as I can, right? Where, look, not everybody's in a perspective where their family's paving company gets bought and then goes bankrupt. And there's a lot of people there that I could just handpick from, right? And that is a very unique scenario. That's an obvious, massive, massive head start for me where it's like, oh, it's too funny. I have a photo of myself and my sister in Donna's office when I'm like 5 years old. We just recreated the same picture with Donna and my two kids in her office. She worked for my grandfather. She'd been here her entire life. She'd been doing it since she's 18 years old. And so for me, it's like, hey, Donna, like, you want to stay on and work with me? She's like, yeah, duh, obviously I'm with you guys, right? So we have a unique advantage from that perspective. That's really unique because not everybody who's having a startup and is maybe new to the industry has those connections, right? The next layer to that, though, becomes, okay, well, these are all the people that we know, love, and trust. Do you guys know anybody that you know, love, and trust? Because if your values and you know what we stand for and you're a fit, is there anybody else that is like from the similar cloth, right? And they're like, yeah, I know this person and this person and this person. So then you go to that next layer. And that's kind of where we're at right now. I haven't had a massive amount of success in hiring people that just randomly come in off of like some job application, right? That's very few and far between. We have a handful of them. They exist, but that's not the bulk majority of our people. Once we do have somebody, though, the retention has been insane. We still haven't had anybody quit. So back at Ignite in December, I was tooting my horn a little bit where it's like no one has quit here. And that's unprecedented, not only for our industry, but in business in general. It hasn't been 2 months. And we don't have two people. It's not like a startup where it's like one guy, oh, it's been 3 years, this has been my helper. No, we've got 20 plus people for 4+ years that haven't left. I think my two layers to it is really, really strong hiring processes. Like I just explained, bringing in people that we know are going to be good fits. And like if I'm hesitant, I'm like, I don't know, something tells me that we shouldn't maybe bring this person on. I'm very slow to hire, very slow to hire. But once they're here, I think we have a unique advantage because the owner of the company has quite literally done every job function that is ever being asked from anybody here. Like I've literally done it myself. I know what it takes. I understand it. So that's unique. And because I work for a family company who plenty of advantages to that, but anybody else who's ever worked for their family, plenty of disadvantages as well. And then a private equity group that at the end of the day didn't work. Like they're bankrupt, right? They're done. So obviously they had some good things, but like they didn't treat their people very good at all. So I've seen the dirtiest of the dirty of how people get treated. Like when I was in sales, I had commission stolen from me. Like I go out, I find a job, I bring it in, I do the deal, we close it, we get paid, and then they don't pay me for whatever bull crap reason they could have possibly come up with, right? That stuff exists. There are companies out there who do that to their people. So having had that done to me, I'm like, I will never, ever, ever, under any circumstance, ever even suggest that a salesperson doesn't get paid what is owed to them on a job site for any circumstance. Like it just doesn't happen. We don't even have the discussion. My sales rep told me like, oh, maybe I can chip in a little bit and that'll help us win the job. It's like, no, you get paid what you get paid. And it's up to me if I want to take the job, at that price or not. I'm not going to ask you to donate back to us to win something. What? So that's crazy. So those unique and stealing hours and not being honest about their pay scale and stuff like that, like all that had happened, and I refuse to do anything like that. I refuse. And I just think like generally we're a pretty happy place to work. Like we don't put up with office drama. You're gonna come in and start causing issues. We just shut it down. It's like stop. Leave it at the door. If you two got to work something out, take it outside. Step out, figure it out, and when you show up to work, that stuff goes away. Yesterday we set up we have like a little fire pit at our yard. It's nothing fancy, but we had to review the pipeline. Me, two of the sales guys, my assistant, and my office manager. We go outside, we light a fire, we reviewed what we had to review over a fire. Is it different? Oh yeah, it's significantly different. Is that the reason why nobody ever leaves? Probably not, but it's a unique advantage where it's like, hey, I actually had a fun day at work. I don't feel stressed. It's like a good environment. Culturally, everybody says, oh, culture's king. It's a lot more than just talking that. And it's a lot more than just buying people a pizza party, right? Like no one cares about that stuff. It's the much deeper, intimate level of relationship that you have with your people that I put a lot of stock in.
It's
And I have to
purpose,
say
right?
that's a
Yeah.
huge, yeah, of course. So it's like, I said this at Ignite as well. Your customers cannot take care of your employees. They can't. But your employees can take care of your customers. So I just see too many people where they put all this stock in all of their relationships with their customers and they treat their people like crap. Like I've seen it happen. Like the way they talk, it's just nasty. And I look at it like if I just treat these people really, really well, they can then treat my customers really well. And then my customers can treat me really well. And it's just the never-ending ecosystem. And to me, that makes the most sense to operate that way.
That last 5 minutes was awesome. Holy cow. I mean, you obviously get jazzed up talking about paving and stuff. I get that, but I could see it on your face again, even on a Zoom screen. You get jazzed up when you're talking about the people aspect and retaining people. And unfortunately, our number isn't zero, but we've also had a very few amount of people quit. And like, man, wear that with a badge of honor. That is such a cool thing. The other thing that immediately stuck in my brain, and I've said it on this show before, and I just hope people out there who are hiring remember what you just said about slow to hire. Slow to hire and quick to fire, which kind of gets misunderstood sometimes. We don't want to fire people, but it seems like it's made a difference. And truthfully, like from an outside perspective, I'm literally on the other side of the continent from you, so I don't get to come to your job sites. I don't get to see the culture. Maybe I should. Maybe I should come hang out with you for a bit. But yet you see it. You see and you feel the for lack of a better word, you see the culture in the marketing, man. Like it's super impressive. Good job, Kenny. Boy, and before I forget to compliment you, nice dinosaur pictures there too on the wall.
I can't take credit for those. Some of them are my daughter, the other half would be from my son, but yeah.
Which one did Pete draw?
Beats is actually off camera over there. He's got the little mermaid one, yeah.
Awesome. All right. A couple other things I wanted to check with you about. All right. So the marketing. Describe the approach that Royal Pavement Solutions takes with their marketing, besides the fact that it's super incredibly unique. Tell me about it.
I think if I could describe it with 3 words, one would have to be edgy. Everything I do, I want it to be edgy and different. If it's not different, I genuinely almost don't want to do it. And if someone in my organization doesn't say, "Oh, I don't know about that," then I probably won't do it. I want somebody to be like, "Yo, that's pushing it. What are you thinking? What are you doing here?" I want somebody to feel that way. Because if they feel that way, when I release it, it's gonna be thousands more who equally feel that way. And I think one of the best responses I've gotten so far, it was to the dancing one when we had some dancers show up to a pave. That somebody called me and like, "Hey man, we're curious, what was going through your mind when you decided to do this?" We had an idea, sounded fun. I had never seen anybody do it before. Let's go for it, right? And they're like, "Aren't you afraid that you might look stupid or somebody might not take you seriously or it might like tarnish your reputation?" And they responded like this. I'm like, "Look, it's not for everybody. I know it's not for everybody. The people who it's not for are probably the ones I don't really want in my circle anyways, number one. if you want to pass so much judgment because we had some dancers show up to a video, if that upset you that much, we probably wouldn't really be good friends, right? And the customers potentially who are like, oh, that's like a little tacky. We won't want to have a pavement guy do that. It's like, listen, don't do this on everybody's. You would think all day long we just have dancers show up at every job site. Of course not. It was for a fun little moment.
Not yet. Not yet.
However, one of my top customers, I can't release what it is yet, obviously, but like there's a challenge on one of his job sites, and basically I agreed to test a theory that we have, and he was like, if you're going to do that, you should film it. It sounds crazy. Like you need to film that or release it on your YouTube channel because your customers will love it. And I'm like, you know what? And that's why when he's my best customers, because he sees those videos, it's like, yeah, this is funny stuff. Like, we enjoy it, and he gives me all of his work, right? So that's the stuff I'm looking for, right? I want people to watch the video and like be super memorable. And even if their memory of me is like not the fondest and like, it wasn't my cup of tea, that's all right, no problem. It's not for everybody, but the people who are like, wow, we loved that. That was awesome. We enjoy it. It's like, okay, so let's keep doing stuff like this. So it's got to be edgy and it's got to be different. And I want to ruffle some feathers for sure.
It's so awesome. Yeah. Hopefully, well, Matt's not here at the moment. Hopefully he overlays the video of what you're talking about. You straight up hired 3 young ladies to show up at the dance or at your paving project and just dance away.
Yeah. And you know, like, so for that one specifically, people are like, well, like, how'd you even find, we went to a legitimate talent agency. We hired a choreographer. We said, okay, like we didn't know who the dancers were going to be, but like we paid them for a routine with a type of style we were looking for, and they showed up and did the routine. Like it was super well put together. We hired a legitimate firm so for as silly as some of the stuff might seem to some people, there is a thought process that goes behind all of it. And like it is all with good intention. And like I look at Raised on Blacktop, right? And I love everything that that organization does and stands for as that brand, right? Especially that I have 2 small children. And to me, I think it's awesome when my daughter is chanting pavement, pavement, Raised on Blacktop and Americans paving videos obviously take a huge precedent in doing stuff like that, right? Like there's a reason they're trying to make it cool again, right? I don't have the bandwidth or the branding expertise to start making clothes and all that stuff, and it's really not of any interest to me, right? But if I can make college students like reach out to me like that, hey, we didn't realize paving and paving with you guys could actually be so much fun. We want to check it out. So any other paving guy was like hating on the videos too. Well, guess what? You know how you complain that you don't have enough talent and that enough people aren't finding you guys and like you're having a hard time. We've a plethora of young people that want to come to work here because of the type of videos we make. So there's a lot more benefits behind that stuff. And I try to look at any marketing video. It's like, who could this reach? What could the benefits be? What are the potential, casualties that it might endure? But yeah, that's kind of the approach that we take with all of our marketing directives.
Please, no, I know you won't stop. Obviously, you're not ever going to stop, Kenny, but please don't ever stop. Like, I think that's the most underrated thing about marketing is attracting people to join the mission, man. Like, so many of us in the smaller realm just think marketing for sales, marketing for new customers. But no, you're going to get could you imagine if you didn't market this stuff and then one day somebody comes to work with you because you think they're a qualified, paving person, and then you start introducing that stuff and they're like, I had no idea Kenny did this crap. I hate this place. Right?
Right. 100%. What's interesting too, people would have to know me outside of paving. And for our industry in general, they don't, right? They see my social media posts, they see me at the trade shows, and that's about it, right? I spent an entire summer showing up to random events in costumes. And all it did every time was it would make people laugh. They'd get a couple giggles out of it. Some people would want to take a photo, and then I would take it off and have a good time. And people would be like Kenny, like you never know when he might show up in a costume. That's stuff I've always done that, right? And the people here know that about me. I will buy the most ridiculous outfits and show up in public and just be like, hey, what's up? I'm here to have a good time today. And they're like, what the heck? And people look at me like, oh my goodness. So all I did was, why don't we just start filming that stuff? Like I'm doing it anyways. I do it at the job sites all the time. Turn the cameras on and let it rip. So none of it's like, we're not forcing anything. I dance at job sites literally all the time. I turn my phone on and I turn on the speakers and I dance. It's something I enjoy doing. I have a good time with it, right? Film it. So nothing that we're doing is like overly forced. It's as authentic as possibly could be. I refuse to script a thing. I refuse. The About Us video was a scripted one that we have somebody in here who like helps us with our marketing stuff. Um, she scripted that one, put it together, and I let it go. But like for the most part, outside of that one, we just turn the camera on when we're at the job site and we go for it. And whatever comes out of it, that's what happens.
The reaction of I can't remember his name, but there's two videos I think of. One where you got the Slurpee, the Mr. Freeze thing, and just the look on the dude's face, man. Or when you went costume shopping, like, oh man, that's authentic. You can tell by the look on his face. Oh yeah.
That's Ethan. I've known Ethan since second grade, I think.
No way.
Known Ethan my whole life. Um, he is my biggest offender when I have an idea and he's like, no, man, like we can't do that. That's crazy, right? Like, it's pushing it, man, a little bit. And it's good because though that's when I know I'm doing something right. If he's like, yeah, that shouldn't be a problem, I'm sure everybody would be okay with that. I'm like, that's probably not edgy enough then, right? He's come back now after those videos get released. He's like, all right, like while I'm getting released in a tasteful way, I can get behind it. That one works. It's good. So yeah, he'll keep being a piece in a lot of those videos, and like his personality, like I just said, he's the one against that stuff. And so when he's caught on camera, like here, we're doing something, he's just like, really, like this is what's going on right now. It's authentic. It's what it is, but people they laugh at it, and so we'll keep using it.
Awesome. Oh man. Well, we'll plug all the social links because yeah, if people haven't seen your stuff, they need to see it for sure. All right. I don't want to keep it too much longer. Where are we going from here, Kenny? Where's the future look like? The Royal Pavement future.
Yeah, we're looking to do 2024 should be a massive growth year for us. We are shooting for the damn stars. We brought in a bunch of new hires this past winter. Added some pieces of equipment, and we're going for it. So like, we've been growing at a rate that's been acceptable, and now we're like, let's really freaking turn this thing up. So we're going for gold in 2024 majorly. We're gonna keep dropping crazy videos. We got World of Asphalt. I'm gonna show up there at the end of this month. And then I'm just waiting for the weather to break. Like we've got a few nice days here and there where we can go to work. But we're all chomping at the bit to get back to paving. And so in the next couple of weeks here, it should start turning over. And yeah, we'll be back to work.
Cool. Last one. I used to ask this one all the time. I don't know why I stopped. This should be like the shtick at the end of the pod, but best business advice that you could pass on to somebody listening to this pod. What would that advice be and why?
Can I ask a rebuttal question before I answer it?
You may rebut.
Is it best piece of advice for somebody looking to start a business or somebody who's in business?
Assume somebody's in business. You know, some people listen to this show, they just want to get their striping thing going. But no, like if you have the business, you got maybe one or two people, you know, you're growing and you know that you could do a lot more, but you also have never done it. So you're not really sure what to do next. The money making advice, not literally money making, but what is it?
2 words, stay hungry. And what that looks like, right? Sometimes people can like really get trapped up in feelings of content. So it's like, okay, I'm cool with where I'm at. And listen, if the God honest truth is that you are and you've built the business that you are happy with, that's okay. But what it's not okay is to be like, oh, I want to grow, I want to do this, I've got these goals, I got this, I got this. But then every time you have these little wins and you're like, oh, well, that felt good, and stopping there, right? Like keep pushing it. Don't sit back. You're going to set more boundaries on yourself than other people are going to. I laugh when people are like, oh, you can't do that. Like external boundaries don't affect me. They can't, they never will. I will never listen to a doubter or a hater tell me I can't do something. It just won't affect me. But my headspace, if I'm like, I don't know if I could get that done, all of a sudden it's like, well, I just cut my chances in half because my headspace wasn't there. Stay hungry that if you're like, no, you know what? I want to triple my sales and I want to cut my costs down. I want to become more profitable. I want to do all those different things. Keep fucking busting your ass for it then. That's what you're going to have to do.
I love it, my man. I love it. Well, I wish I lived a little geographically closer. And by that, I mean, you know, the different country. Because it's so stinking hard to get
Anywhere.
How many flights would it take you to get to New York? Is it 14 connections later at this point?
Oh, no, New York wouldn't be that bad. You guys got a big airport or two there, but yeah, it just takes a lot of time. But yeah, that's why I really value the even the little things. Like it was cool just to hang out beside you there at the Black Dog Banner event, or the Ignite, and you know just sit and chat for a bit. It's awesome. So, World of Asphalt, you're gonna be there.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah.
I'm showing up like Monday afternoon, and I think I'm leaving Tuesday afternoon. So I'm only there for like 24 hours. I couldn't stay the whole time. It's just World of Asphalt's too close to the beginning of the season. And like that's like prime, that's a prime week where we're like, if we haven't started working already, we're about to in the next week or two. So it's really tough for us to like go to World of Asphalt with a huge showing every year. So it's probably just going to be me and maybe one other person for just a day. Show up, shake some hands, and then come back.
Cool. Well, if anyone's listening, going to World of Asphalt, look for the guy in the costume. He'll be there. I'm not sure which costume, but you can't miss him. He'll probably be the only guy in a costume. So.
Probably. That's amazing.
Thanks for your time. You rock. And we'll stay in touch, brother. All the best this year.
Appreciate it, Cam. Be well.